Hello and welcome on another stream of Romance Christmas. If it is um, morning, good evening, good afternoon. It's almost midday for us. It's just after 12 in the morning. Um, so, yeah, last night we had quite an interesting murder mystery. There should be three more cases left. So let's see what happens. Alright, day 3, 25th of December, 12:85. I always seem to oversleep on snowy days. The thin grey light coming from the window, half smothered by snow, is barely enough to wake me. I climbed out of bed, still feeling dizzy. The snow hasn't stopped yet. The tavern is quiet. The sound of chatting and clattering mugs are all absent. The doors in the corridor are shut, even Kane's and Sean's. It's almost enough to make me wonder if last night's actually happened. Maybe it was just a nightmare. I walked downstairs. The lodgers sat in the hall drinking. Silence reigned. Peter, Eunice, and Elegant were sharing a table. Peter was practically trying to drown himself in cider. Eunice took him by the wrist and set the cup down. The benefits of having a huge friend, I guess. Elegant sat by and watched quietly, occasionally taking a sip from her drink. Vincel, Solar, and Lunik sat at the counter. The Marquis and Marquise clothing was even messier than when they walked into the tavern yesterday. Winsel was busy nervously fiddling with his bow tie and coat. Thrivey, Angsox, and Heron were seated around the fireplace, staring at their mugs without raising their heads. If Thrivey had brought a plague doctor mask, I'm sure he would have been wearing it. Tsarn was sitting by the stove in the kitchen. The fire wasn't even lit. I counted them one by one. There was no sign of Kane and Sean. Oh, you're finally awake. What happened? I walked to the table by the fireplace. You know what happened last night? Right. Angsox came to whisper in my ear. Peter's taking things pretty poorly. Probably lucky Eunice is by his side. Maybe you can talk to him. Of course. Without Sean, the Marquis and Marquise are also in a bit of a mess. Looks like they weren't used to getting themselves dressed. Why are you telling me this? Tarzan lifted the curtain and came into the hall. Good morning, everyone. I hope the incident last night didn't interrupt your rest here. A bit late for that. As the proprietor of the White Star Tavern and Kane's friend, I'm sorry for what happened here last night, but I can assure you that you have no need to worry about your safety at the White Star. All the locks are crafted by a professional blacksmith, and I personally guarantee you that they are safe and solid. And I can assure you that Detective Roman and I will ensure your safety until the blizzard outside is over. Just decided to volunteer me like that. By the way, Peter suddenly took off Eunice's hand and stood up. 2 people died, and you're just gonna tell us Merry fucking Christmas? Tom froze. As far as I can recall, he always seemed to deal with all kinds of stuff in a very flexible and quick-witted way that didn't match his appearance. But this time, well... And Kane? He was a regular here. How could you pretend he's just a stranger, for fuck's sake? Are you that fucking cold-hearted, you? Admittedly, I couldn't understand San's reaction. Sometimes trying to separate yourself from events and staying professional is the only good option. Eunice grabbed Peter by the shoulders and forced him back in his chair before Tannen could do anything in response. Pete, for God's sake, just sit down and shut up. Yeah, totally. He speaks, finally. At any rate, I don't know how long until the snow stops. Let's just all try and stay calm. I'm sorry, Simon. I was just scared. The fact that he sounded like Sean didn't sit well with me. What if... What if... What if another murder... It won't, I promise. The blue dragon gently patted Peter's shoulder and then cleared his throat and straightened himself. For the time being, why don't we all just stay back here in the lobby and get to know each other? That way we can keep track of everyone. And if anyone wants to leave the hall, one person at a time, please. No groups, no pairing off. How does that sound? We looked at each other and nodded. I hoped someone has something prepared to pass the time, consider that everyone is stuck downstairs today. Maybe I can chat with them one by one. I could also go upstairs and get my book to read. Sorry, wrong button. Let me find a place to sit down and talk with some people. Where should I sit? Let's sit at the round table because those are your friends. I sat by the table. Peter was face down on the table, his mug close at hand. His back occasionally twitched like he was sobbing. Eunice was patting him on the back, at least gently by his standards. Elegance sat by them with a full cup in her hand. I wonder if it's the same cup from yesterday. There, it's okay. It's not okay. If Kane was here, he wouldn't want to see you cry. Don't tell me what Kane would want. I looked at Eunice, who was patting Peter's back. I'm just glad you're keeping Peter calm. I don't know how long he'd have kept going. Rabbits are like that. It ain't impossible to scare one to death. I still can't believe what happened with Kane. Sorry. Yeah. I'm still expecting him to come downstairs and chat with me over a cup of ale. Like about the damn seasickness cure he came up with a while back that never worked. Or some amulet he's been collecting from some weird shop or something. Well, seasickness? Hey, Ianus, did you poke around inside my nightstand? What are you talking? Do I look like a petty thief to you? Yeah, you're right. Never mind. Yeah, you want to may want to pat him more lightly. Like this? I think you can figure it out. I stroked Peter's head gently. What? Any idea how long the snow will keep falling? Sorry. I hope so. Peter pushed my hand aside and laid on the table. Peter? Eh? I know Kane's incident is a great shock for you. To be honest, I'm just as shocked and confused. Uh-huh. But since we don't know how long it will be until the snow stops, you should probably try to calm down and keep your head for the time being. I'll try. What kind of person was Kane like? He was gentle. Was? I mean, sure he would get angry and smash things, but that was just because he wasn't good at handling his emotions. Even when he was really mad, he wouldn't try to hurt anyone. And after he broke something, he'd always pay for it, even if he had to borrow money to do it. When he wasn't mad, he was always so tender. I better not bother him. When I looked at Elegant, she made eye contact and nodded. What was it that you wanted to say before the incident last night? I didn't get a chance to ask. I forgot. So, as it was interrupted, maybe it was something should not be uttered at all. My curiosity will be the death of me. You are not a cat. I'm still curious about the reason you came here. I thought you had already figured that out. Is it a good time to tell me? I came here for an investigation. Why else would I be here? Perhaps the carrot stew? Well, at least you didn't cover it either way. By the way, have you ever touched my nightstand? What do you think? You have. And do you think that's true? Okay, I just wanna... dot. I broke eye contact with her. Sit somewhere else. Let's go to the fire. I dragged the chair over to the fireplace. The rabbit is really quite noisy. He and Kane knew each other for years. Methinks it's not unreasonable for him to be in such a state. Forgive me for saying this, I'm not particularly comfortable being near him. Why does it matter? Once the snow subsides tomorrow, we'll part ways and be strangers again. Being God's children, we ought to treat each other with kindness. And children should know better than to shout, unless they want to be scolded. Angsok rose to get another drink. Aaron touched Ansok's elbow with his empty mug. Would you mind filling mine as well, dear boy? Didn't take you for a drinker, father. Angsox balanced the two mugs in one hand and his lute in the other as he headed towards the counter. Seriously, if performing doesn't work out, you do well as a waiter. Angsox filled the mugs and returned. Here you go, father. God bless you, my son. My child, sorry. So I just want to see. The red dragon shrugged and sat down. I moved next to Ansox. What do you want? It's been a while since I last saw Kane. I didn't expect something like this would... Yeah. Ansox sighed and softly fell silent. A good drinking buddy, even though he never requested a song from me. If he did, wouldn't it be just like that Bible verse? Which one? Give not that which is holy to the dogs, nor cast your pearls before swine. But still, he is much better than you as a drinker. Peter's outburst sort of shocked me. That's what small animals do. Go into hysterics. They tend to attach great importance to kinship and friendship. Family and friends make it easier to survive in a harsh and unforgiving world. Sensible? I assume you also find relationships important. Wolves and their packs and all that. Socializing with people is one of the required skills of a good detective. Will the snowstorm stop tomorrow? What do I look like? Will it switch? How should I know? But I thought you just said that was me trying to raise spirits. Would you rather I say something? Oh no, the snow will keep falling and we'll all be trapped here until the spring thaw. If I said something like that, I'd have my tongue cut out. So it's better to say something nice. Thanks, by the way. For what? For the clue you found at the scene last night. You're more than welcome. I'll be the first to arrive, help you investigate next time. If you were the first to arrive at the scene, you'd either be the victim or the murderer. Sure. Okay, it's just the same. By the way, can I ask you something? Why, certainly. Did you happen to touch my nightstand? What? Of course not. I'm not that kind of guy. I was when we first met. Never mind. Nothing. It's warmer sitting by your side of the fire. Naturally. I sat down beside Thrivey. Can I help you? I just wanted to thank you. For the autopsy? There's really no need. I believe any qualified doctor would have done the same if it meant keeping others safe and sane. Although my judgment may not be as good as a professional coroner's, I do try my best. If there's anything unsatisfactory with my work, please do tell me, Mr. Detective. I will do my best to correct it. I appreciate your enthusiasm, Dr. Thrivey, but let's hope we don't need such cooperation in the near future. Pardon my enthusiasm then. Is being a doctor difficult? Why are you asking all this? Why are you asking all this all of a sudden, Mr. Detective? Why do you think? Why do I think being a doctor is hard work? Didn't you say you got here from another district because you lost your way? I did. Vela district is connected to three others. Lives of most people in each district are not so pleasant, particularly in the Karnak district. Karnak? Have you been there, Mr. Detective? I had a case there a long time ago. I hope you didn't get sick when you went there. The population there is particularly vulnerable to dysentery. I didn't get sick, but I did get pushed off a roof and was stuck in bed for 3 days. My word, if you can recover from that sort of fall that quickly, then you must be quite robust. I'm just curious, but what exactly was that weird looking book you had last night? The cover had a bunch of symbols that were completely incomprehensible to me. Unsurprisingly, the book is written in cipher to prevent others from accessing the knowledge. Maybe I shouldn't have asked. It's quite alright. Many ask that kind of question. I'm used to it. May I ask you something? Something? Please, Mr. Detective. Have you seen anyone rummaging through my nightstand? No. I hope you're not suspecting me. It's not good to suspect a colleague, even if the partnership is temporary. It's fine. Well then, a toast for your health, Mr. Detective. Thrivey raised his mug and shook it in the air, then took a sip. I looked at Heron. Pretty rough Christmas Eve. Indeed. It's all part of God's ineffable plan. What? If we only listened to God's words, none of these despicable acts would have happened. Here we go again. Surrounded by the goodness and the kindness of God, you will become a noble person naturally. People have done far more despicable things for what others could call noble purposes. The snow keeps falling down. Also part of the ineffable plan. Unlike the flood that washes away all sins away, no matter how heavy the snow is, it can only cover the sin. I'm getting more and more confused. So what? All the sins of Rimph are buried deep under the heavy snow, but the snow eventually melts. No matter how deep the sins are buried, they shall be revealed by the light of the sun. Anyway, thank you for giving Kane and Sean last rites yesterday. Letting the deceased embark on a journey to heaven with dignity is what I ought to do. There's no need to thank me. Is that so? By the way, may I ask you something? What? Did Sean commit suicide? I don't know what to choose. He did. I wondered about that. Why else would he have had the dagger with him? We were just afraid that you would refuse because you committed suicide. After all, you don't seem the sort to do something as despicable as lying to a friar out of a noble cause. Before Heron could continue, I moved seats. I walked to the counter. Your performance yesterday was quite splendid indeed, Mr. Roman. Thanks for the compliment. Mon Dieu, I should be the first one to say that, were it not for you, Monsieur Detective, that fiendish goat would have succeeded in framing me. May that goat rot in the pit with the traitors and the murderers. Nevertheless, Sean has... None. Do not even speak that name before me again. As you wish, my dear. Sola turned away from Lunik, her ears flat and tail lashing in anger. You need not be so angry, Mocky Howler. Once the snow stops, I'm sure you'll have more than enough time to make it to His Majesty's Christmas feast. Bah, it's already too late. It's Christmas today. I'm sure to miss the feast if the snow doesn't stop by noon. And there's also the matter of my carriage. Oh, la malchance, le malheur. I'm sure that this is merely a temporary setback for you, Monkey. Lunik rolled his eyes and sighed heavily. Do not try to flatter me, merchant. I sat beside Vincent. What brings you to me, my good detective? I assume it's quite a long trip from your home to Rimph, right? Certainly. I have travelled this way far from Alaton. I haven't travelled this far from home from Alaton in years. Is it your second time here? Not really. Vincent paused a bit and continued fiddling with his gloves. It's my first time visiting the capital. I guess telling you to have a pleasant trip would be in poor taste. Oh no, not at all. His gloves were already on his hands properly, but he kept fiddling the edges. Didn't you say before that you might hire me for a case? Indeed, my good detective. Anything you want to share about that? Sorry. It's when I do the right click that it does that. So, I'm gonna have time to prepare. It's just investigating a trivial matter. Easy as it sounds, no need to over-prepare. Alright. Mysterious. The spice business must be making money lately, given the price of pepper in the city just tripled. The same goes for cinnamon and cloves. Even the price of basil has gone up a lot. I know it's the holidays, but surely it can't be that expensive. It's because the spice shipments hasn't arrived in port yet. Merchants are still consuming their inventories while waiting for that cargo. Naturally, the price goes up as supplies dwindle. Sorry. Those gloves of yours look very stylish. Vincent stretched his bow tie and put it together. Great minds think alike. I always prefer thick gloves, especially those thick enough to retain their shape while empty. Ah, of course. I raised my mic and heeded to Christmas. The snow. Our mics clinked and I could smell the aroma of pale ale mixed with fresh basil in his cup as his drink sloshed. I sat down beside Lunik. He didn't seem to notice me. Such terrible weather. When will the snow stop? Even stop? Oopsie, sorry. I think it could still go for some time. C'est mauvais. I knew we should have left earlier. If only I knew about this awful storm. I'll be the laughing stock if I miss the king's Christmas banquet. Come to think of it, how are my carriage horses? Are they seen to? I'm not sure about that part. Have you been to the king's Christmas banquet before, my lord? I'm curious about what they serve. Ah, an excellent topic. Looney cleared his throat and then narrated with enthusiasm while drinking his mulled wine. If I beckon just so, my sommelier, each person would be assigned one from the royal staff, would come over and fill the goblet with wine. The wine was magnifique. At each banquet there would be at least one intemperate guest who, greedy for the fine wine, would fall unconscious before the end of the feast. If you have tasted the treasures of the king's cellar, you would fully comprehend why they risk showing such rudeness before his majesty, to drink to heart's content. Even just speaking of such divine nectar, I've become more aware of the wine in this tavern is. I tilted my head towards Sanan just to warn him. C'est bien, especially compared to some lesser establishments. By the way, if there are other disputed cases in the future, feel free to send for me. Absolutely. Should I encounter such a case again? Both your performance last night. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I've got a bit of flu. Both your performance last night and last time impressed me, especially when you dared the criminal to strike at you with the armor under your coat. Your bravery is remarkable as a detective. Are you getting used to your room, Moki? Pardon? Well, the room, though unfashionable, is clean and the bed was the room, though unfashionable, is clean and the bed was comfortable. But the most serious problem is that my servant was involved in that awful event. Now I have nobody to serve me. If that's his only takeaway from this, then I don't know what to say. I didn't utter a word, and he didn't seem to notice me at all. Sola was sitting next to Lunik, so I felt uneasy talking to her. It would be better if Sola is alone. Do you want to go upstairs? I'm going to grab a book. It's a bit boring just sitting here. Please wait a sec. I'm going to lock up the cellar. Why? Just locking it up in case someone decides to break out the good stuff. There's enough ale at the counter. Keep an eye on everyone while I'm away. Someone went down to the cellar. Simon came out of the cellar, glanced at the counter, and scratched his head in confusion. That's weird. What is? I remember leaving my keychain on the counter, but now I can't find it. Maybe you put it somewhere else. Maybe. I'll keep looking. Okay, I'm going upstairs. Mm. Wait. Simon pointed at the stairs, turned around and saw Thrivey on the stair. I'm just going up to grab a book and come down again. I won't take too long. He scrambled up the stairs 2 steps at a time. Honestly, that surprised me given his size. Probably best to wait. I just hope nothing else happens. I don't think there will be much trouble. Only one person can be alone at a time, and I doubt anyone else is in the mood to die. Well, that's all good and well, but well, that's better for everyone if you just stop there. Don't take what Peter just said too seriously. Of course, I work in a tavern, and I've been called worse things than that. I was going to try and comfort you, but I guess you don't need it. I wouldn't object to a little comfort. Huh? I'm just trying to satisfy your wish to comfort others. Otherwise, after all, it's my job to please my customers. Not in that way, though. So, what do we do today? Well, I could set up the darts board and see if anyone's game. Sure, give emotionally compromised people sharp objects. That's... I'll be watching. Nothing will happen. I could think of a few things that could... Would you stop that? Hold on. I just remembered something. Spit it out. Why aren't you feeding Moki's horses? I told the owners to bring the horses back last night, but he said they died, froze to death. So I had them drag them to the yard this morning. Why bother with that? I can't let good meat go to waste. I can't say I'm looking forward to a pleasant meal of horse meat. Thrivey trotted down the stairs, his book under his arm. Could you do me a favor, Mr. Detective? What is it? I'm having a great deal of trouble with the ladder upstairs. Could you want me to pull it up into the attic? The white dragon looked aside and nodded. If you would be so kind. Grabbed the rope and slowly lifted the ladder into the attic. The ladder is heavy, even for me. No wonder Thrivey had so much trouble with it. The ladder reached the attic. I tied the rope on the wooden handle on the corridor wall and went downstairs. Simon looked at the dartboard form under the counter. Since everyone seems a bit bored, come on. I recommend playing a game of darts to pass the time. I'm only offering the dartboard and darts. Any bets you want to place are up to you. Yeah. Anxox bounced up from his seat and with an eager grin. I guess the idea of possible loot or a sense of challenge had kindled some long-lost instincts from his ancient dragon ancestors. I'm not going to participate. I will watch first. I shall watch. It is tempting. Well, I'll watch as well. Fine by me. I'm going to check my luggage upstairs so I can leave immediately once the snow stops. Before anyone could interrupt, Vincent put down his cup and walked upstairs. Why was he so desperate to leave? I think I'll just watch. Oh no, you don't. You're gonna play too. Eunice pinched Peter's ear and pulled him out of his seat. I suppose I can join in and see what happens. Well, that makes 7 participants. Angsox, Strivey, Vincel, Eunice, Elegant, and Peter. Oh, and myself too. What about you, Roman? It's just a practice round, no bets. Of course I'm in. Frankly speaking, I practice for it. So that makes 8. What are we waiting for? When everyone is here, let's get started. I'm ready to. Sorry for the wait, everyone. It doesn't matter. You've come at just the right time. Sergeant lifted the dartboard and hung it on the wall behind the counter. With its peeling black paint and riddled with hundreds of dart holes, the dartboard looked as old as this tavern. He took 3 darts from the groove behind the board and put them on the table. 3 darts only. Throw them in turns. I won't give you more in case you toss them around. Also, and this should be obvious, don't stick them in the table. Well no, that was just tempting fate. Angzox walked in front of the table first. Just stand behind this brick. Yeah, ready, fire. 21, 41 in total. What's wrong with that last dart? I expected you to be an expert, seeing as you were so active. Next. Why is it so high up? Let me show you. Double 19, triple 3 and 3, 50 points. Wow, bit of a fluke if you ask me. Congratulations. Next. I've not played darts in a long time, so forgive my humble showing. Vincel took the darts in his left hand and took aim. 5, 20, tripled 1, 28 in total. Sure enough, oh well. Next. I'm ready. Tripled 5, half bullseye, 20, 60 in total. Just so. Next. Should I hold it like this? Almost. Just be careful. Don't throw them at the wall. And especially don't throw it at the pictures or else. Who else? 60 points in total with 2 misses. What sort of beginner's luck is this? Next. If I may. 20, triple 20, miss. 80 in total. Oh, it seems luck favors me. Did she expose herself or not? It's my turn. Roman, mind checking my score? 120, bullseye for 50, 71 in total. As to be expected. It's your turn. Move your paws to throw the dart. 15. Bullseye 50. Bullseye 50. 150 points in total. You're the champion. You live up to the title of a great detective. I don't think darts has much to do with being a great detective. This is just a warm up. Next one will be the real thing. But first, let me find my keychain. That one? Thrivey pointed at the keychain on the counter. Oh, that's it. Where the hell did it go before? Peter pulled me aside. Robin, could I ask you to do me a favor? What is it? Oh, I just want to send a letter to Hella. Could you help me write it for me, please? Hella, the little hare you've had your eye on? Yes, that's her. Oh, sorry. Do you know if she can read? She can ask someone else to read it for her. Okay then. Just tell me what you want to say and I'll write it out. Really? Thank you so much. Suddenly I recalled that we could only leave the lobby alone today. Could we do this another time? We're not supposed to leave the hall together. Okay, I suppose it could wait. The next round will begin shortly. Get ready. Yes, I'm coming. Peter rubbed his hands and walked to the counter. After a few rounds, Vincel had lost all of his 45-seat wager. Though it wasn't a big amount for him, he looked mournful and he walked back to the counter. Eunice turned the tables in the later rounds, and even won a little. Elegant to pretended to be a novice and finally managed to lose only a small sum of money. Angsox and Sanan were in the first and second place. I figured that Sanan was going to win the whole pot with his techniques, but Angsox unexpectedly got 360 points and won. Seems luck didn't bless the two rookies, as Peter and Thrivey tried hard but could only break even. I was not in a good mood, so I lost more than Elegant did. Sarden was absent for a few of the later rounds because he was busy preparing Christmas dinner in the kitchen. I can't manage all this by myself. Is there anyone who can give me a hand? It would have been better if Kane had been here. I'll do it. Peter followed Sanan into the kitchen. According to custom, there is no lunch for Christmas Day. The poor can save a meal, while the rich can ready their stomachs and prepare for a huge dinner. One of the few customs everyone can partake in. Mom would have made me help Auntie with dinner. Well, who could resist a second chance? Opportunity like that? No wonder it's only available when I go home. I don't know why. Originally, I didn't want to go home. Now I feel a bit homesick. Everyone was resting at the table, and a few who were awake did not seem to be in a talkative mood. Angsox was playing the lute. What should I do now? Chat with Angsox. I followed walking to the corner Angsox was in. The lute was gently pressed against his body as he plucked the strings softly and hummed with the tune. That song sounds a little familiar. What is it? It's an old lullaby, so it's not strange that you think it's familiar. and dogs continued to hum, so I sat nearby to listen. The others in the pub seemed asleep soundly, although I don't know why I just can't relax. Probably because of Angsox. He seemed the type to start playing fast-paced dance music the second everyone starts nodding off. Think you could play something a bit more Christmassy? I'll do that after dinner. I'll be in a better mood once I have a full stomach. The smell of mutton gradually wafted in from the kitchen. Anzox and I couldn't help turning our heads. Christmas dinner is almost ready. Could you guys help bring the tables together? Okay. I will start serving the dinner when everyone's here. Sorry. Me, Heron, and Ian started moving the round tables, placing the long table on top and laying out the red and green striped tablecloths. It was getting dark and everyone gathered at the table. Merry Christmas. Let us hope it will be. Surely it will be. Peter came out of the kitchen carrying a cauldron. Misty white steam floated out of the gap in the lid. The pot was so large I could only see the tops of Peter's ears behind it. Peter stumbled near the long table and slammed the pot onto the table, splashing some gravy. I have to admit, that's one advantage of having such a small figure. Even Peter was a bit clumsy with the dishes. No one would complain. If a big guy like Ian had slammed the pot down like that, people would think he wanted a fight. Oh, so sorry. Well, next time you need to carry a big pot of stuff, let me know. I'll do it. Heron accidentally dropped the serving spoon on the floor and asked Aunt Ox, who was near the kitchen, to help him get a new one. Sarnan also came out with 2 large plates of grilled meat and baked apples. There are still apples in the season? If stored properly, you can eat them all year round. Although this plate is my last stock. As soon as Sarnan set the last few dishes down, everyone started to reach out. Wait a moment. Eh? Ian's hands hung in the air, his eyes looking a bit vicious. Given that it's Christmas, I think we should pray before eating, to thank God who gives us the food. Well, I suppose it wouldn't hurt. Mon Dieu, someone mentioned this before Father Heron. Wait, I don't have my rosary. I might need to go upstairs and get it. Heron stood up strenuously, preparing to squeeze around half the table to get up the stairs. Relax, I'll go fetch it. The quicker it's done, the quicker we eat. Wait, his door is still locked. Anzog seemed not to hear and strolled upstairs with his lute. That red-scaled part better hurry up. There was a muffled sound from upstairs. What happened? Oh dear. I should not have spoken. Anzox must have tripped or something, alright? The carpet on the second floor is thick, so it's probably fine. Take it easy. John quickly left the table and headed upstairs. I also ran to follow. Closer to the stairs I got, the more the smell of stew spices in the tavern became mixed with a familiar wet coppery smell. It smells like it was more than just a fall. I ran up the stairs quickly, taking them two at a time and clutching the handrail as I rushed up along the inside of the spiral staircase. It was Angsox. He was lying on the carpet, motionless. The wooden ladder to the attic had fallen. It had struck him on the head. Bright red blood spread down across Angsox's dark crimson scales, leaking into the thick carpet. The heavy wooden ladder was still pressed against his head, like a boot pressing down on top of a melon. Hemp rope, which had originally tied the ladder to a wooden handle, swung like a pendulum in the air. Simon stood there, stunned for a moment, before he rushed forward to pull the twine. Angsox! The ladder slipped up to the loft along the guide rails, making a sharp friction noises. The driver squeezed past me and crouched beside Angsox. Wait! Don't disturb the scene. He's still alive! What? Still alive? His head is covered with blood. Being covered with blood doesn't equal death. Harvey pulled out a white handkerchief from his pocket and pressed it against Angsox's head. The fabric slowly turned red from the wound, spreading across it like it spilled wine on the tablecloth. How can you? Thrivey grabbed Angsox's tail and knuckled down firmly against the ventral side. The flaccid tail curled up at once and did not slacken again until the hand was released. You see? He's still alive. If we can stop the bleeding and get him into bed and apply a poultice, he should recover. You're really calm about this. Not to interrupt, but this ladder isn't exactly light. Could you? Looney grabbed Angsox's armpits. Thrivey supported his head and I lifted Angsox's legs. Then we lifted him aside together. Once out of the way, Son loosened his grip and let the ladder fall back down again. Angsox will not wake up for a while. Carry him upstairs and put him in his bed. When I count we will lift him upstairs together. 1, 2, 3. Lunik and I carried Angsox's limp body up to the attic. Why do unconscious ones feel heavier than usual? Over to the bed now. Alright, just leave him with me. Do something else and stay out of my way. Thrivey sat at the edge of her bed, pulling bottles and tins from his medicine box. What's the situation? I don't know. It will be some time before he regains consciousness. I'm just relieved that you can take care of him. I climbed down the wooden ladder. Is that foolish part okay? He's not going to die. Good. Well, then let us begin searching. What? Do you assume Angsox's injury was an accident? It isn't because the handle I used to secure the rope broke. Perhaps. Elegant shrugged. We were all downstairs at the time of Angsox's death, so it surely was... we were all downstairs at the time of Angsox's death, so surely it wasn't just an accident, but it fell off somehow. As much as I prefer to go back and eat, I'm already hungry enough to inspire my predatory instincts. We should try and finish dinner first. In weather like this, stew gets cold quickly. And I haven't eaten anything today. How could you eat with such a problem stuck in your throat? Forget it. Let's finish it quick. I'd heard of a foreign general who had no time to drink after pouring a glass of warm wine and then went to battle with the enemy general. When he returned victorious, the warm wine was still warm. Then let me do a simple survey to find out what the reason is. I took the keychain from Sanan and straightened my collar. But the crime scene has been... It's fine. I have seen it all, and I can rebuild it. Should I drag Angsox back down the ladder? If you must do this to solve the case, I'll do it instead. Isn't it too cruel to let Angsox go back there? Thanks for your hard work. I will pull up the ladder a little, so you may climb under the ladder and not hurt yourself. Here. Left, up, yes. Go somewhere else to search. I have not finished yet. Elegant squatted down, grabbed Sanan's horns and positioned him. Easy there. My key is locked inside my room. The keychain is pinned around my waist. Take it yourself and return it afterwards. Okay. Wait, the door's open again. Hi, Tapes. My phone. Let me just see here. Oh, hey, sure, the red as well. Sure. Alright, okay, so she said search first. The map. Where's Heron's room? Talk. By the way, don't you always carry your rosary with you? How's the game? It's interesting, I must say. It's quite interesting. Most of the time, but I left it at my bedside this time. Unlucky. Can you remember what happened before dinner? Before dinner, I proposed to pray for the meal to glorify God. Then Angsox went upstairs to get my rosary, which I had forgotten. Unfortunately, something happened in the end. Maybe it was the punishment of God for my laziness. That's not right. Eh? This isn't divine judgment, it's murder. If God wants to punish someone, it should only be the murderer. As for finding who the murderer was, it is my responsibility. Suddenly, I think you are even a little handsome. Okay, that's a weird smile. Just a little. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems like you have been handling Angsox recently. Really? For example, pouring drinks for you this morning. Just a few times. Heron tapped his fingers a few times. Isn't it normal to help someone get something? Just to be nice to others? Search. Heron didn't stop me from approaching the nightstand, and I didn't hesitate. Heron's Bible was in the drawer and the rosary is on the nightstand. Axel was hit when you came to fetch the rosary. Then why is the rosary still? I took the rosary and kept it close to my nose, sniffing deeply. It's the smell. Now I remember. After a while, I'll compare it with the smell of the scene. It was a bit messy. Okay, it's the same thing. Back. Just want to see something. Sorry. There you go. Okay. Alright, let's go. Well, what do you think happened this time? I'm not familiar with Anzox, but I'm not surprised someone finds him to be annoying based on how he behaves while we share this room. Why? He plays his lute at night while in his bed. Okay, it's just dot dot dot. While I understand that some nobles will hire musicians to play music while they sleep, I don't think that's quite my preference. What can you tell me about Angsock's injuries? His scales partially deflected the blow, so the actual wound isn't deep. It still bled heavily though, and it's still a head injury. When do you think he'll wake up? Best case scenario? A few days. That's assuming there isn't significantly trauma to the brain or internal bleeding. I'd be lucky to wake up at all if that thing hit me. If it weren't for his scales, or if it had struck him on his neck, he likely wouldn't have survived. I'm pretty sure the last place anyone unconscious would want to be is here. That's unsettling. That's all I need. Let's see. I don't think I can talk to Anzox. I bent down to gaze at Anzox. He was lying on the bed, his head wrapped with a white cloth with uninjured side down. By the way, is it possible for dragons to lie flat on their back, or would their horns pierce through the pillow or something? I poked his tummy. Though covered with scales, it was unexpectedly bouncy. Detective, what are you doing? Please don't disturb the patient. I'm not doing anything. I drew back my hands. Let's search. Anxos' bed. He sleeps here almost every day at the White Tavern. Now he's lying on it too. Travis medicine box, heavy. Travis book. It's a blurred image of a dragon with weird sigils scrawled on the cover. Thousand keys hanging on the bedside. The keys would be here if there are any unoccupied room. But only Tannen has the cellar key. And it's not on the keychain. Tonan's bed. There were originally two, but one of them has been given to Thrivey for now. Tonan's junk pile in the loft. Old hemp rope decoration, angel wings from my old costume, you name it. Okay, I don't think there's much more here. Okay. Let's go down. I think everyone should still technically be in the bottom. Cool. Vincel and Ionis were sitting at either end of the long table. Vincel is leaning over the back of the chair, and Ionis is bent over the table. The stew is still hot, and the steam is getting out of the pot cover. Mr. Vincel, I wonder if it is convenient for you to answer some questions for me. Of course, my good detective. Ask your questions. Can you remember what happened before and after dinner? Technically, it's not even after dinner yet. Well, Heron suggested we pray before the meal. Then he said that he forgot his rosary and wanted to go upstairs and fetch it. Angsox was nearer to the stairs, so he went to go and fetch it. Then we heard the sound. I see. Assumption about the incident. What do you think happened this time? I hope it's just an accident. It would be terrible if anything happens again, especially on Christmas. And if there's a killer among us, I can't exactly say I can relax. Why can't we just surrender instead of playing hide and seek? Ain't like attempted murder would result in a death sentence. Would you just wait patiently at the docks after you got in a fight with someone? Damn straight. What do you think about Angsox? Nothing special, just a bard. Nothing special. He hangs around a bunch of taverns and only stays for a few days, so it's not like he has much time to make friends or enemies. I doubt anyone's willing to lend him money, though he never asked. Anyhow, I don't understand why anyone would want to kill him. What was it with you objecting to prayer before dinner? Everything was fine without it, if there wasn't so much drama for today. By the way, wasn't it the first mealtime prayer we had this whole time? Yeah. Okay, that's all for now. Okay, so let's see. Okay. Let's see. Is there anyone in the kitchen? Cold meat stew in the pot. The broth has congealed. Same. Knife stuck in the chopping board. Fire has died out. Level of water's gone down quite a bit since yesterday. Let's go to the cellar. Search. Tarzan has cleared the dust off the barrels and rearranged them. His chalice signs feel sharp. I'd cut myself if I keep touching it. But Sarnan with his scales doesn't seem to have such a problem, so he's never bothered changing it. Someone had put everything in order except for this cup. Weird. There are brown hairs floating on the water surface of the sinks. It looks different from mine. I almost lost myself in the mirror, staring at the heavy dark circles under my eyes. I haven't eaten for a whole day, so I have nothing to excrete. Alright, good to know. Right, so up again. And so we've spoken to Elegant. There's a notebook in the drawer with Elegant's name on it. I opened it and found 13 people's names. Found the 13 people's names in the tavern on it. Kane's, Ian's, Sarnan's, Angsok's and my names were crossed out. Elegant's travelling sack. It looks normal. The mouth of it is tightly sealed. The bed sheet edge is well tidied. Okay. Ianus had slept here, so the cold is almost reaching the ground, and his room is gradually filled with shark smell. The pavement in front of the tavern is covered by thick snow. There's still nothing in the drawer. Okay. Nope. So, Maki, can you recall what happened today? Oui, if I recall, after the sun rose, Chan called everyone to go downstairs. I had just woken, so I went downstairs together with Solar. Chan advised us not to disturb you, so you stayed asleep until we had finished Le Petit Journée, and later you came downstairs somnolent. So I was the only one who hadn't eaten for the whole day. There were approximately 3 or 4 people who went down. I was taking a nap in the afternoon, so I thought I know nothing of that. And le dinner? I haven't had it yet. That made me even hungrier. To conclude, Heron didn't bring his rosary, and Nanksox went upstairs to assist him. Then the unfortunate incident happened. Thank you for your cooperation. Makwisala, I wonder if I could ask you a few questions. Why, of course. Have you ever noticed anything odd during the day? I could smell the scent of orange blossom, jasmine and vanilla on Solar. It was like she just came from the southern parts of the kingdom. I didn't notice anything bizarre. I watched you play a lot of darts before noon. Then in the afternoon I was taking a nap. I tried stop my nose from sniffing too hard. I do apologize if that is of little help. It's okay, it's fine. Search. The cup is empty. Handbell for calling Sean, but no one will respond to the bell now. The double bed is the only double suite in Devon. No one stays here most of the time. I was approaching the nightstand when Nuni came and stood between me and it. Something I can help you with, Monsieur Roman? So much for checking that. May I check the drawer? There is no article in the drawer in relation to this crime, I presume? Lunix's lips curved in a faint smile. As Moki, I possess the privilege to refuse any unjustifiable search. I think Peter might have been right about the unfairness the other day. Okay. Sean is gone, but let's check it out just in case. Lunik and Solar suitcases, well crafted, are stored here. Can't open them without their permission. Sean seemed to make the bed in his own way, but he will never have a chance to lie on it. Door is empty. Am I going crazy, or is the snow getting heavier? Peter's door was tightly locked. An intermittent sobbing came from the door. Peter? I knocked on the door, but no reply. Are you okay? The crying grew louder. I think it's better not to disturb him. Oh yeah, I've already done Heron. No. Kane is not here anymore. I couldn't help thinking of him every time I stepped into his room. Search. Nothing in the drawer. Small drops of blood on the bedsheet. They are a bit faded from time, but still can be seen. Okay, so let's go back to the corridor. Sergeant, can you move over a little and take a look? Excuse me, I have something to ask you. Very well, just be quick. What do you think happened this time? I think an acquaintance did this. Why? Only someone who knew Angsox well could predict his behavior and sabotage the ladder. So you say. What's the situation with the scene? Speak with the others first. I'm figuring out if there are some clues. I need to concentrate to figure this out. Who has gone upstairs today? Both morning and afternoon. Do you not remember that? I'm just trying to confirm it. Today, Thrivey went upstairs first. Then you. Vincent went upstairs during the darts game. Then everyone was resting in the hall during the afternoon. Angsox's name is also on the list of your room. Care to explain? It may be a coincidence. Never mind. I may be tempted to burn that book. What if some sort of cursed notebook that kills everyone whose name is written on it and crossed out? I never expected that you believed in curses. Why didn't you realize it before crossing my name out? Do not act as if you believe it yourself. There are no such thing as curses. I'm done. Go about your business. I crouched down to talk to Tsanen, who was lying under the ladder. Is it alright if I ask you something? Not unless I want to open my mouth wide enough to answer. Well, I think you also can't speak Draconic. What can you tell me about the ladder to the attic? Other than the fact that it's currently on top of me? Well, it's heavy. If dropped on someone your size, they might die. Then why did you install it in the tavern? Normally, I'm the only one in the attic, living in the attic. I don't operate the ladder when there are guests nearby, so I didn't expect it to hit someone. By the way, when Anxox came to the tavern, he usually slept with me in the attic. Slept with him? Okay. Not to be rude, but could you hurry up? My head's getting sore. The ladder was suspended from the attic ceiling by a rope lifted along the guide rails. The hemp rope was usually wrapped around the wooden handle on the left-hand side of the second floor, suspending the ladder. When I arrived at the scene, the bottom of the ladder was pressed against Axel's head. The wooden handle, a rope is usually wrapped around it, but now has been broken, leaving only the base on the wall. The wooden handle looks like it bent and then broke. The color is very new. The cross section of the wooden handle has many sharp wooden splinters, and it seems like several of them broke. The wooden handle is now broken. Most of the remains of the wooden handle are tangled in the rope and swayed in the air. The wooden handle looks like it bent and then broke. The color is very new. The cross section of the wooden handle has many sharp wooden splinters. It seems like several of them broke. You alright? Is the letter too heavy for you? No, just finish this quickly. Anxos's wound is on the back of his head. Won't do this on Tarvin though. I took some notes. Yeah. The ladder is now on Tarvin's head, with Anxos's blood soaked in it. A ladder like this could knock even Anxox into a coma. Tarvin's muscular back. When he isn't busy, he would untie the belt on his wings and flap his wings. That's the reason his wings are still strong. Sound and strong arms. Blood on the floor. Blood on the floor. Blood. Search everywhere else. Time to focus on a crime scene for now. Sniff. Took a deep breath, trying to sniff out the murderer. Although it doesn't work all the time, it saves me a lot of trouble. Scent of blood is too strong. I can't connect the scents with these people. Might as well pay more attention to the scents. I closed my eyes and breathed in and out through my nose. Different races, different things smell different. When they interact with each other, they leave their unique scent on each other. If I close my eyes and sniff carefully, I can locate the position of every odor and then restore them to the scene. The more similar interaction methods, places, and times are, the more similar the scent is. The handle's cracked end. Anxox and the murderer both touched it. The smell makes me nervous. This smells like something at the crime scene. Someone lies here with a totally different scent. It's hard enough to simulate position, but way too hard to simulate the scent. Luckily, Angsox's scent still lingers. The ladder smells of blood. Smells like sweat and silver. What does that mean? The scent grows thicker at the bottom. The handle's cracked end. Angsox has touched it. No special scents on that rope. But smells like the rosary. The handle smells a bit like the rosary. Just a bit. Let me put it this way. The base scent differs. What smells like the rosary? The ladder smells just like the rosary. This usually means they have contacted a lot. But why? That should do. The evidence I have is enough. It's time to find out the truth. Yes. Okay, I'm just gonna take a quick hydrate break. I'll be back now. Alright. After a thorough search, I asked everyone to come to the attic for a trial. If Angsox wakes up during the process, maybe I can solve the case more quickly. This time, Angsox won't jump in with a strange theory to influence my conclusions, when I have no idea. Although that was one of my wishes, I didn't want it to happen this way at all. I sat on the edge of Angsox's bed, waiting for everyone to gather in the attic. Elegant climbed up lightly, so light that I didn't even notice her. This place, it may become problematic if we try to fit up everyone here. Let Angsox listen to the process, although I don't know if he can hear it. It would be fortuitous if he woke up at the opportune moment. Ian's footsteps thumped heavily on the ladder. Can't we just discuss this in the hall? Maybe we can talk while eating? I don't think you can focus on a case while smelling the stew. Everyone came upstairs into the attic, which made the already small room become even more crowded. The wooden floor under our feet seemed to settle a little, and a sharp frictional creaking was produced when anyone moved. I started to think it was a bad idea to put 11 people in the attic. Peter sat next to Tannen and bowed his head without saying a word, as if as if he was trying to curl up beside him. Um, Looney took Solo's hand and looked at me. Just like before, try to keep things simple and clear as possible. No overcomplicating things. If this really was just an accident, then there's no need to assume there is a murderer amongst us. So, was Angsox's injury an accident, or was it deliberately set up? It is possible that he was unable to operate the ladder and accidentally broke the handle. Impossible. Why are you so sure? He sleeps in this attic every time he comes here. Nothing ever happened to him when he went up or down. It is quite impossible for him to make such a mistake. Well, you have known him for a long time after all. I'll add that to my notes. But who would want to kill Enzox? I don't remember if he's got any enemies. Besides, most of us here have only known him for merely a day. Is that all somebody needs to kill? Let's put motive aside. I can't figure it out either. Is that so? I want to figure out those who was able to commit the crime first. It is possible that the handle was stressed already and it was about to break anyway. If so, Angsok is just unlucky enough to trigger it. Impossible! Why? The handle is strong enough to bear the weight of the ladder. That's right, I have investigated this handle thoroughly. Why was the handle not likely to break soon? The rope tangled on the handle. The rope pulls up the ladder. The wooden handle was bent down. There are no color depositions on the splinters. The wooden handle was bent. So what? The weight of the ladder passed through the rope and pulled the handle up. So if it was an accident, the handle would be broken upwards. Indeed it is. Indeed it was, Roman. By the way, I felt strange when I retrieved my rosary. It was neither in Angsox's hand, nor pressed under him, but on his back. Why didn't you tell me something that important earlier? I just remembered it. In short, it seems that there are a lot of details that cannot be explained right now. In short, there seems to be a lot of details that cannot be explained right now. Let's rule out whoever couldn't have tampered with the ladder. The first people we can exclude are anyone who hasn't been upstairs today. So the main suspects now are Thrivey, Vincel, and myself. First, let's ask them one by one. How do you ask yourself? I'll just confess when it's my turn. Very well, you first, please. We'll go in order. Thrivey, what were you doing when the accident happened? I was... Thrivey gestured with both hands in the air, waiting for Heron to finish praying. Oh. Didn't everyone do this at the time of the incident? What did you do upstairs this morning? Let me think. I went upstairs to the attic to get the book on my bedside. When I went downstairs, I tried to pull the ladder up but failed. So I went downstairs to call Roman for help. Damn, that makes me seem suspicious. I need to do something to direct the suspicion to the real murderer. Something smells fishy. Maybe I'll press harder for further information. Which point do I ask? The book on the bed? The one with the cover you can't read. Although, I think it has nothing to do with the case. Why did you fail to put away the ladder? You do realize the ladder weighs more than I do, right? How can I? Why did you call me to help lift the ladder at that time? I happened to meet you on my way down. In other words, if you happened to meet someone else, you would have asked them to help you? That's correct. Please add what you just mentioned to your testimony. Very well. Please testify again. I went upstairs to the attic to get the book by my bedside, the thick one. It was so light that I couldn't move it. I saw Roman at the entrance of the stairs when I went downstairs, and then asked him to help. He just happened to meet me, and I didn't know in advance that I had a chance to. Are you sure? Why were you standing at the staircase if you didn't want to go upstairs? I did intend to go up, but I didn't intend to break the ladder. On the contrary, I can prove that I had no chance to tamper with the ladder. The reason I couldn't have sabotaged the ladder? I just stayed upstairs for a while, which meant I didn't have long enough time to sabotage the ladder. If I remember correctly, Thrive and Vincel stayed upstairs only for a short time. This point is not convincing. Master Vincel, would you care to testify? Vincel tightened his gloves and adjusted his tie. Of course. I didn't stay long upstairs, so I had no chance to do anything to the ladder. I even didn't notice the ladder. Come to think of it, if I had observed the ladder at that time carefully, I might have found a trace left by Mr. Detective. Sorry. Please don't speculate when you testify. Besides, Ansox and I don't know each other. Why would I harm him? And it was not I who asked for the rosary. Something smells fishy. Maybe I'll press harder for information. How long did you stay upstairs? Probably from the time throwing darts was proposed to the time the dart game was ready to start. You didn't notice the ladder, really? Yeah, the ladder was not in the corridor like it is now. How could I notice it? You implied that I am the murderer. What do you want to do? Don't target me because of this, Mr. Detective. Avenging personal wrongs in the name of public interest is a violation of the law. You and Ansox really haven't met each other before? Why would I lie? The taverns I frequent aren't quite as low. Vincel glanced at an annoyed Simon who beside him and shut his mouth. Why did you just mention the rosary? Was that strange? The whole mess happened because Heron was going upstairs to get the rosary. Add what you mentioned to your testimony? Absolutely. Please testify again. I was upstairs from the time that the dart game was proposed until the darts were ready, so I didn't have much time to fiddle with the ladder. The ladder was stored in the attic and I didn't notice it at all. Come to think of it, if I had observed the ladder at that time carefully, I might have found a trace left by Mr. Detective. Strike that last sentence. I haven't met the Red Dragon before, and here was just a brief acquaintance. I have no motivation to murder him. It was Heron who mentioned the rosary, and it was none of my business. All the suspects have been questioned now. There seems to be nothing wrong. But after hearing their testimonies, I want to add a suspect. Have we not confirmed that the rest have not gone upstairs? Unnecessary suspects should be ruled out. Sean wasn't on the list at first yesterday, but eventually. So, who are you talking about? I would say. Do I want to add? Actually, I want to go back to the banquet. If I can go back that far. Nope, I can't go back that far. Driver is already a suspect. Sorry, I think it was you. What are you talking about? Yeah, no, I don't think it was her. I think it was Heron. I think so. As the owner of the rosary, do you have anything to explain? Is there anything to explain? For example, did you go upstairs during the day? Why was the rosary not with you? Why did you pray before meals today? And tell me anything you think was strange. Okay, I've been downstairs all day. I believe everyone can testify to that. I left my rosary in my room, so I had to go upstairs temporarily today. What's wrong with praying before meals? Speaking of something strange, the door to my room was locked. Does that count? Something smells fishy. Maybe I'll press him harder for some further information. Did you go upstairs today? Even once? Everyone saw me. Of course not. Regarding the rosary, I would like to ask a question. Why did you leave the rosary in your room? I thought it was usually carried with you. I usually put it on the nightstand because I'm afraid that I accidentally soil it. Why did you pray before the meal today? Seems strange. I have prayed before every meal. Is that a problem? Why was your door being locked? Why was your door being locked is strange. Don't you know? I never locked the door. What? I believe in God physically and mentally, and I believe that God can protect me from all calamities. So the door was unlocked when you left today. Absolutely. That was... Let me write that down. Please add what you've mentioned to your testimony. I shall. Please testify again. I haven't gone upstairs today, and everyone here can testify to that. I usually put the rosary on the nightstand because I'm afraid of accidentally soiling it. That is why I had to go upstairs to pick it up. I have prayed before every meal. It is common though. I didn't do so openly out of respect for Tsanen. I didn't lock my door, but I found that my door was locked after the accident today. I really don't understand why. There is something obviously wrong. What evidence contradicts Heron's testimony? The rosary should have been on Angsox's back at the time when the ladder hit him. So the rosary should have been there at the moment of the accident. Why? I smelled similar scent on both. So is there any contradiction with my testimony? No. Okay. Come on. Wait. Did you just say you pray before meals every day? Yes. Is there anything wrong with that? But that was the first time since you got here that you prayed before a meal. There Therefore, maybe I remembered it wrong. But what does that have to do with the case? Although I'm not sure whether this is related to the case, I hope you can recall why you suddenly remembered praying before meals. Very well. Usually, whenever there is a chance, I pray before meals. In the past few days, to respect the sensibilities of the tavern owner, I did not mention praying before meals. Today is Christmas, and I thought that it made sense to have a pre meal prayer on this particular holiday. Besides, there were others who asked me to do so. Okay. What do you mean it's normal? That means when I was in the monastery. What do you mean out of respect for Tsaden? It seems that he is not so passionate about faith. So you didn't forget to pray these days, but rather you dared not? Maybe you can say that. Heron looked to the side. His voice grew quiet. Christmas prayers should be normal. Yes. So were you the first one who thought about praying? I was about to say. Wait, did anyone else want you to do this? Yes. Why didn't you say so earlier? How should I know? Is it important? Of course. It's very likely that whoever proposed it is the criminal. That was not me, it was. The hyena just wanted to make us believe that he initiated the prayer, but now he was stunned. It was Vincent. Yeah, I also remember that Vincent asked us to pray before the meal. What? Wait a minute. Didn't you propose to pray before the meal? I'm trying to remember who said it. Who proposed to pray before the meal? Vincent said the prayer before the meal was Heron's own proposal. It wasn't me. That's what he said, so he'd be acquitted to fray me. I turned to look at the links. Do you have anything to say, Vincent? I indeed reminded Heron to pray, but why do you think that means I would murder someone? If I wanted to kill Ansel, why didn't I just let Ansel go upstairs and help me pick something up? Why would I bother to remind Heron to remember to pray before the meal? What if he went upstairs by himself? Impossible. Anyone who has been in a tavern these days will find out. You can use Heron to get to Angzox. Why? That other one. In the past few days, Heron has often called on Anzox and asked him to do things for him, like pouring him drinks and taking a spoon. So it was natural for him to get the rosary upstairs. Because the murderer took advantage of Anzox's tendency to help Heron, and because it set up a trigger for the trap. And who among us do you think is most familiar with traps, alibis, and crimes of these sorts? And who do you think is the most familiar with traps and alibis and crimes of these sorts? You, my very good detective. And it's not true that the tomcat over there is also suspicious. Elegant. Elegant flexed the paws quietly, a claw sliding out. Therefore, if the murderer used a trap to kill someone, I assume only Roman can do it. That's true, I do know these things because of my profession. But I'm sure everyone in this room, even Ansox, can come up with one or two simple traps like that. Only three things are needed to make a trap in this case: the wooden handle, the rosary, and the key to Heron's room. Let's start with the wooden handle. The handle was broken downwards. After breaking the handle, the suspect inserted the handle back into the slot. Is there any evidence to support your theory? It's pure speculation. It is not, because what can prove that the suspect inserted the handle back? Because there is no color deposit on the cross section of the wooden handle. Why? He inserted it as soon as it broke, so the fracture surface had no chance to get dirty. It's not that the statement is wrong, it's just a bit far-fetched. Okay. Because the rope was wrapped around the handle. What of it? That... Oh, no, I thought that was a no. Because the splinters were broken. After the suspect broke the handle, he inserted it back in the direction of the splinters and pressed it tightly. This way, the friction between the splinters would cause the handle to get stuck there. If he properly adjusted the handle, it would support the wooden ladder, but when someone tried to lower the ladder and started to untie the rope, the handle would come loose and the ladder would fall unexpectedly from overhead. In the process of reinserting the handle back and loosening it, it is inevitable to break a few splinters. So the suspect would have done just that. That sounds reasonable. It still brings us no closer to identifying the suspect. Then there is the rosary. When we found Anzox, the rosary was still on his back, and he was knocked down by the ladder and suddenly fell. That shows that. That shows that the rosary was left on Anzox after he was knocked down. That doesn't make sense. The scene was watched. Someone blocked the staircase. Come on. So no one could get through. That is true. that shows that the rosary was on the ladder. If Anxox saw what he was doing for the ladder, it was natural for him to lower the ladder. Then the ladder fell on Anxox and the rosary hanging on the ladder would fall on his back. But why did Anxox check the ladder? If he were looking for the rosary, he would definitely not look there. He would only find it in Heron's room. Because Heron's room was locked. Anxox couldn't open the door, and when he turned to go downstairs to ask Heron for the key, he saw the rosary hanging on the ladder. He would naturally reach out to pull the twine wrapped around the handle, trying to lower the ladder to get the rosary. That just triggered the trap set up by the criminal. Next is Heron's key. Thanks to Heron's testimony, we now know that his room is generally unlocked. His key was on the nightstand and he hadn't moved it. According to Tsanen, there are 2 keys to each room in the tavern. Then the second key was it was on the keychain that Tsanen usually carries with him. By the way, it seems like my keys disappeared for a while this morning. At first I thought I was just confused, but now it seems like maybe the murderer took my keychain? When did you find out that the keychain was missing? I put it out on the counter when I went down to the cellar. When I returned, it was gone. When did you rediscover it? After playing a round of darts, I found it on the counter. In this case, there is enough time for the murderer to bring the keychains upstairs, lock the door and then return. In other words, the killers should be someone who approached the counter while Tsanen was entered the cellar and then went upstairs while the keychain was lost. And then when the key reappeared, the killer would also be near the counter. Please click the moving icon for answering. Weapon. The weapon is the ladder. The weapon is the ladder. Anxox was hit by the ladder. The wound can support the assumption. Besides, the murderer could only perform his trick in front of everyone else. Could hardly perform his trick in front of everyone else. Let's talk about how this happened. Arranged to go. Reminded Anxox to go upstairs. Suspect broke the handle and plugged it back. Suspect reminded Heron about praying. Suspect did Tsanen's keychain. Suspect put the rosary on the ladder. Suspect messed about with the rope. Suspect took the rosary away. Alright, so I think first he took the keychain. Okay, wait, I'm going to change to the touchpad. Then he broke the handle and plugged it back. No, wait. Then he took the rosary. Then he broke the handle and plugged it back. Then he put the rosary on the ladder. No, I know. Suspect reminded Heron about praying. 3 on the right position. Okay. So turn these 2 around. Okay. No. Wait, which one is... Okay, wait. Maybe this way around? This is the sequence of events. Right. Suspect. I think the murderer is, or well, at least the suspect, culprit. It's Vincel. Why are you always against me? I'm not taking it personally. I've got vital proof that you are the murderer. What? What evidence have you got? I went upstairs right before you, and the handle was in perfect shape. Who else could it be? When it comes to the motivation, can it just be... Can it just like what happened between Sean and Kane? They knew each other before and separated because of conflict? I think it's impossible. Firstly, they rarely communicated today. I don't think they would keep their countenance if they met before. Secondly, if Angsox owed Vincel something, and Vincel wanted to murder him, Angsox should have at least taken precautions. In a nutshell, I think Vincel's real motivation is his target was someone else. Maybe his target wasn't Angsox, but someone else. So obviously, we can't find the motivation from Angsox. Oh, we estimated our famous Detective Roman. Wait, what are you talking about? My target is very definitive from the beginning. It is Angsox. Wait, pardon? My only target is Ants. I didn't expect you will admit it so quick. Vincel clenched his fist and let out an angry gurgle in his throat. Okay, I lose. It was me, heard Angsox. I have to admit that you are so gentleman when you plead your guilty. Then would you like to tell us your motivation? Anyway, you have already confessed your crime. No, thanks. Okay, though I am curiosity, I guess we will have to continue. Although the motivation is not clear at all, now that the Lynx has pleaded guilty, let's start to summarize the case. In other words, Vincent has started to set his trap up in the morning. In the morning, Simon explained the situation to us and suggested that everyone try to stay together in the hall and only leave the room one at a time. While this would avoid incidents between two people, it also gave Vincel the chance he needed. Utilizing the rule that only one person would go upstairs at a time, he had enough time to set the trap without worrying about being caught. It was suspicious to let Angsox go upstairs to trigger the mechanisms directly. Fortunately, Vincel knew that someone would order Angsox around, namely Heron. Vincel took something from the counter while Tan was busy in the cellar. That was keychain. The tavern keychain. He took the keys that Simon had removed from his waist and left on the counter. He went upstairs to open the door, took the rosary from Heron's room and hung it from the ladder. But Vincel made a mistake. He didn't know that Heron never locked his door, so when he came out, he locked the door like everyone else. He broke the handle off the ladder and inserted it back in place and went downstairs. Until dinner, no one went upstairs to trigger the trap, and Vincel's plot was more than half successful. At dinner, once Vincel reminded Heron to pray before dinner, Heron asked Angsox to go upstairs. Angsox went upstairs and found the door was locked and looked around. Seeing the rosary hanging from the ladder, he naturally reached out to undo the twine around the handle. The rope came loose with the handle and the ladder fell down the guideway, hitting Angsox. This is your plot, Vincel. Am I right? The lynx kept his eyes wide open and pulled the gloves back and forth. His sweat dripped from the ends of his fur. All right, you win. So what do you intend to do with me? We will bring you to justice, of course. Simon picked up the length of twine, caught Vincel from behind and tied his hands. Just hurting someone isn't a capital crime. Didn't you know that? Shut up. Oh, not so hard. Be gentle with my wrists. You are no longer a guest now. You are a dangerous criminal who has endangered the safety of my guest. Why should I treat you gently? Vincel glared at me, trying to get rid of the rope that bound his hands behind him. Untie me, you wretched son of a... Sarnan grabbed Vincel around his chest and hoisted him easily into the air. Vincel screamed silently, baring all of his teeth as the breath whooshed out of his lungs. I just cleaned up the cellar this morning. Perfect place for a bastard like you to spend a Merry Christmas. Vincel stretched his neck and bent down, trying to sink his teeth into Sarnan's arm. Sarnan turned around and pressed Vincel's head aside. Don't force me to gag you. Hey, sweetie. Vincel was still trying vainly to bite Sarnan as he reached out to a pile of clutter and junk. Here, let me give you a hand. No, you don't. You don't want to touch it. Is that the smelly cleaning cloth in the kitchen? Sarnan grabbed something on top of a pile of clutter and stuffed it into Vincel's mouth. Vincel's eyes went wide and he began to shake his head, trying to spit it wild. From the colour and texture, it looked like Vincel had one of Sarnan's unwashed socks in his mouth. He's right. I don't want to touch that. I could smell it from here. Sarnan... Chiefman Biohazard. Sarnan slung Vincel over his shoulder and walked past us. Sola covered her nose with a handkerchief. I started feeling sorry for Vincel. Having something like that in his mouth, unable to escape the smell, must be torturing for him right now. The others left the attic after Sarnan and Vincel. I sat by Angsox's bed, clutching his unconscious tail in my hand. Is something wrong? Oh, something is wrong. What? I believe I took the physical examination part seriously. No, the motive. Motive? But he refused to explain his actions. That's a bit strange, but the thing is, he also admitted to committing the crime. What's in it for him if the murderer isn't him? Sure, some merchants would betray their own mothers if they stood to gain profit, but I can't think of any compensation that can make Vincel plead guilty on Christmas. No, there's just something that bothers me. I will think about it. Thrivey exhaled and relaxed. If there's nothing else to do in the attic, let's go downstairs. I've been waiting for that Christmas feast. Speaking of which, Mr. Detective, are you okay? What just happened? You suddenly fell backwards. Fortunately, you were on the bed. Otherwise, it would have hurt. I'm fine. You must be starving. Can you still go downstairs? Go enjoy your stew. Maybe. I'll try. I slowly stood up with elegant support and dragged my weak legs down the stairs. The aroma seemed to linger in the aroma of stew seemed to linger in the corridor. Although I knew it was just pure imagination, the stew must be stone cold after such a long time. Even the tallow in the broth would form a creamy layer of fat on the surface. The scent seems to become stronger, but there's no sign of stew on the table. You came at just the right time. Simon brought a pot of steaming stew from the kitchen. The others weren't in the mood for stew and returned to their rooms after having bread and cold meat. I was worrying that no one would eat my stew. Gimme, gimme, gimme! Just a second. Shannon poured 2 bowls of stew and ladled a large portion in my bowl with almost all meat and surprisingly little broth. Actually, have all you want. I can't finish this. Actually, I prefer broth more. Thanks. I bowed my head and devoured my stew. After being warmed up, the meat was almost torn apart by the heat. The muscle fibers were slightly separated, and the fibers on the outer edges were almost peeled off. The broth was also much thicker than usual, but I was too hungry to be picky. I just wanted to fill my stomach quickly. After 3 bowls of stew, I stopped eating, licked my lips and looked around. Elegant was still slowly lapping the broth with her tongue. The spoon on the table was left unused. Simon didn't seem to be very satisfied with his work. He ate half a bowl and then put it down with a sigh. Excuse me, I need to take some up to the tuna attic while it's still hot. Please enjoy yourself. I also need to repair the ladder later. Simon reached into his pocket and put a dagger into my hand. Here, I found this on Vincent. Keep an eye on it. Simon went upstairs with a bowl of stew in each hand. I began to wonder how he would climb up the ladder. You say you're on vacation, and yet you came across cases one after another. You are quite a workaholic. Don't act like I'm enjoying this. I think you... Roman, let's talk. What? In private. Ernest glanced at Elegant, who is still sitting next to me. Enjoy yourself. I think I should return to my room. Elegant walked upstairs, but I felt she would be eavesdropping upstairs. I hate to do this, but could you pay me back some of the money I lent you? What? I didn't exactly plan to stay here this long. Now my money's running out. Right, I still got some of my payment from last case. Is 1 real okay? Maybe a little more? I know, I usually don't push this hard, but 1.5. Take it or leave it. Alright, can you break it down to 105 seat for me? Jonas took the large handful of copper coins from me and stuffed them into his pocket. Really sorry for asking you to pay me back in this situation. It's okay. Everyone has difficulties sometimes. I waved my hand and went upstairs. I did not expect you to be so wealthy. Are you trying to make a joke? How should I know? You really don't have any other clothes, do you? If I did, would I be dressed like this? Elegant leaned on the handrail, the staircase, and rolled her eyes. So, pick up any clues for your investigation here? Same as yours, nothing. The opportunities for me to sneak away without being noticed are few, so I have yet to have a chance to search thoroughly. I wonder, speak, is there anything you can let me know? Well, I suspect one of the noble brothers may be still alive. Weren't they both killed? They were just buried under the debris, although no one has heard of them after that. And a noble above the rank of baron, if a noble above the rank of baron is found to be corrupt, the punishment is, if there was definitive proof, they would be deprived of all their titles, properties, and fortunes, and the crown would cut off the pinky of their right hand. The crown does not tolerate corruption amongst his nobles, so there's a chance they're still alive somewhere? Indeed. Is that relevant to your investigation? Probably not, but I think it may be related to the identity of my client. I thought you said that you don't care about anything except money. That's true, but I do get curious from time to time. You are weird. Elegant shrugged and turned back to her room. I guess I should get something. Hey, Christus King! Who's the shark? He's a sailor. The shark is a sailor who gets seasick, and he gets into fights at the pier. And for some reason, I give him like a weird Irish, Scottish accent. I don't know why. Alright. I guess should get some sleep. Considering I just had 3 bowls of stew, I should still sleep well. I took off my boots, crawled under the quilt, pulled the sheets over my stomach, and tried to fall asleep. Whoa, you really brought some booze here? Of course I did. I don't care how fine that stuff is. Set it aside for now. After all, we have more important matters to tend to first. A drink first won't hurt. Well, if you insist. Cheers. I thought you would fail me. Do you really think I'm as weak as I look? I just thought I'm not good enough for you. Impossible. Come on, let me feel your temperature. Just my temperature? Don't you want to feel more than that? All in due time, my darling. Okay. Very strange. What? Alright. So that was the 3rd case. I'm just gonna save here. Alright. So, hey, Crustos, I know you just popped in, but I just wanted to do one case. I was waiting for Metallic Zima. We're probably going to do a couple stream a little bit later. So, yeah. Thank you for everyone who's joined me this morning. It was at least a little bit less dark than last night's case, so I have hope for the last 2 cases. But yeah, I really like this game. There are a few spelling errors or grammar errors. I'm not sure the people who made it. I know it is available in Korean as well, but it feels like the game was first English and then Korean. I'm not sure, but I've picked up a few spelling or grammar errors in sentences that just doesn't make sense. but still the writing is pretty good, I think. I'm really enjoying it. So I'm just gonna see here who's in the chat. Going from the bottom again. Twitch streamers, Discord, tapes of battle, Stygian sticks, streamers, small streamers, DC community, peculiar ASMR, Metallic Z-Man, Lurks, Lana Ray, Hello Tonka, uh, Evanio, Fashaway 42, Drapsnat, Commander Root, Crustus King, Alien Gathering, Alicidra, Oaks to Atala. Thank you all for listening to my attempt at voice acting this morning. And now, let's see who we can raid. Let me see who I have. There's quite a few people streaming this morning. I think I might go for Atlas, unless someone else has an idea. I haven't raided Atlas yet, I think. I've raided Jaded Kitty. And I think I've raided White Mage Tali. And I don't know if I raided. I think I raided Shrow Winters. Yeah, someone recommended him to me. So I think if there's no other recommendations, I'm gonna go for Atlas. So yeah, everyone must enjoy the day, morning, evening. If you're celebrating Christmas Eve, have a lovely day. Hopefully spending with some family, friends, loved ones. If you're not, and you're just enjoying time by yourself, enjoy that too. It's sometimes good to just practice self-care. So whatever you're doing, just have fun and enjoy your time. And if you need some white noise in the background, we're always here to offer some white noise, just random chatter. So, but yeah, enjoy the day, evening, morning, and we'll see you again soon. And I'm gonna start the raid, and then love you all. Thank you so much. Bye bye.